Hello! Today we are going to do What if Korea went to war again? Inspired by Addiz Pro. So, I don't know what would happen, but we would probably see North Korean forces entering South Korea. Now, North Korea declaring war on South Korea isn't an unlikely scenario because, well, they hate each other. But first we have North Korean forces entering South Korea. You have the capture of Seoul and North Korean forces pushing down Korea. Now of course there are going to be some allies immediately. One is going to be China. It's going to be Japan, not China. Oh gosh. It's going to be Japan. That's an ally of South Korea. And then China. And also the US, because they have a defensive pact with South Korea. So, wait. And we would also probably have Taiwan joining this war. And the Philippines. Which, just ignore this for now. And we are also going to have Australia and New Zealand because, well, they both hate China. And all the other countries on this list hate China. So yeah, this is our war for now. So obviously China is gonna be helping out North Korea here. Yeah. Anyway, so North Korean forces continue pushing down and end up capitulating Korea. Now let's look at naval wise. So this is what it looks naval wise. We have China controlling the land around Taiwan, which I'll get into later, and of course Japan and the Philippines having control. Don't mind that. And Japan and the Philippines having control of around the territory. Now, Russia in this scenario kind of busy over here. So I don't know why they would join a war that's happening all over here. So yeah, I'm gonna be leaving Russia out in this scenario. Anyway, let's move on. So the first thing that would happen after the fall of Korea is probably the Chinese invasion of Taiwan. Chinese forces land on southern Taiwan and push out the island, conquering it. Anyway, so yeah, that just happened. But another thing that just happened is, is the fact that, well, Japan and the Philippines just made a land bridge. Not good for China. And start pushing up on their navy. So now that Japan and the Philippines have a supply line, they are ready to kick China back. So obviously, we have this part falling to China. And we just have a big naval war. So anyway, so let's continue. So yeah, the US really wants to open up another frontier, and you could probably tell where they are going. No, it's not over here. It's actually over here. So now China in this scenario, they hate India, and India loves the US and they hate China. So you could probably see what would go down here. Yeah. And now with the joining of India, we have the joining of Pakistan. Yeah. So this is our new war. Now Pakistan would probably drag that country and China will probably also cause these countries and this country. Now this country joining in gonna cause a real problem, a big problem. Yeah, that caused a big problem. So the U.S. has it in the front, and we are also going to see more members joining the blue team. So we have Canada joining, and I am not gonna waste my time trying to color all the Canadian islands. And we have the UK and France joining in. So yeah, this just got a lot more interesting. So yeah, this is our war so far. So first off, you have the Chinese Navy being kicked back by the Philippine Navy, and the US makes connection with the island of Taiwan and gains naval over Western Taiwan, which is okay. And well, there's new fronts, so let's move on to those. So at first, Pakistan had actually sent troops to try and help out this front, since they thought India would be trying to be like helping out the US and fight China, but no, they are wrong. So India makes a campaign of southern why can I never speak? Into Pakistan. Now of course this isn't good. So Pakistan starts rearranging troops. Next on to the Middle East. Why did I put Jordan on the red side again? Okay, anyway. Yeah, let's just pretend that never happened. So yeah. Anyway. So we have Turkish forces pushing down into Syria, as well as Saudi Arabian, Israeli, and Jordanese forces to push down and capture the whole country. And next we have actually Kuwait pushing into Iraq with the help of Saudi Arabia. And then we have a full invasion of Iran. I'm just gonna erase the border, since they're probably not gonna enter Syria again. So now we have Iranian forces on defense in Iraq. But what does go good for them is that they push into Turkish territory. Now, this was long anticipated, but we all know what happens when Turkey joins a war. Oh gosh, what just happened? Yeah, whatever just happened was not supposed to happen. Yeah. With the joining of Turkey, we also have the joining of Azerbaijan. And why did I include this? So they can get absolutely annihilated. So, what the hell? Oh. So Iranian forces push up. Oh no. So Iranian forces push up into Azerbaijan and capitulate the country. Now with Azerbaijan almost capitulated, other than the exclave, we have Armenia joining in and pushing into Azerbaijan's exclave, which falls shortly. So yeah, Turkey is put on defense in their border, but continues the Iraqi campaign. So yeah, let's move back to Pakistan. So Pakistan had finally rearranged troops, and with the help of China, they push into this area of India. Now I know mountains are here, but for simplicity's sake, we are just gonna pretend that they can push down. Chinese forces also make a push in this part, which there are relatively no mountains. Well, mountains are right there, but it gets less over here. So that's why China is able to push in. But India is still the fourth superpower, so don't expect them to push back. So don't mind this colored thing. I'm just trying to make a video. Anyway, for views of course. Anyway, so we have India pushing, and we have India making a campaign to split Pakistan in two. Now that is not good for Pakistan, because if Pakistan gets cut in half, that one almost severs ties with Iran, because well, Afghanistan would probably fall shortly, even though they're kinda uninvadable. Oh, and we also have Saudi Arabian and Omani forces pushing into Yemen. Oman actually makes good progress, but Yemen holds out since Saudi Arabian forces also try to help out Turkey. So yeah, this is the front. And I forgot to mention, we have forces landing in Taiwan, liberating the country. So yeah, Taiwan just got liberated, and the next thing that's gonna happen is you can probably guess, the liberation of South Korea. So they push up, but they can't make a landing yet due to naval threats, and North Korean forces still in South Korea, and they're not yet organized. But the North Korean and Chinese Navy over here is pushed back, and overall it's just a general pushback of the Chinese Navy. They make a push to China in the Taiwanese Strait, and now Taiwan is fully out of danger. So Philippine forces push up here and push back the Chinese Navy. So yeah, that's what's going on. Now China does convince even more countries to join them, because their government is kind of going insane that they're losing the war. So those countries are, those countries. And with the joining of those countries, we have the joining of down, 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 down. So yeah, Vietnam. And what does Vietnam do? Well, they make a push into Cambodia, which goes very successfully since they're Vietnam, and a push into Laos. But China still exists, so yeah, the Vietnamese kind of get pushed back. So Burmese and Lao forces capture the capital of Vietnam and push down to their front. So yeah, that's what's happening in Vietnam. Anyway, let's move on. So I know I may be overestimating Iran, but Iran actually makes a landing in the UAE and starts pushing back. Now the US wasn't fully putting back forces, since Australia and New Zealand were actually pretty doing well in those fronts. But now that Iranian forces are on the UAE, that's not good. Very not good. What the heck? Oh gosh, okay. That's not good. So what does the US do? That's what the US does. And Iran loses a bunch of soldiers. Next thing that happens is this. And Iranian forces in northern Iraq are about to be cut off, which happens right here. And they are and these forces are wiped out. And they also make a push here. Turkey makes a push into Azerbaijan, and also liberates the exclave, and actually capitulates Armenia. So yeah, this is not going good for Iran, as Azerbaijan almost gets liberated. So Iranian forces are evacuated from Azerbaijan, and Iran is put on defensive. Yemen gets absolutely folded. Like, they get folded, like legit folded. They get pushed back. Okay, I'll stop discriminating Yemen. If you're from Yemen, I love you. Anyway, so Indian forces make a giant push to Pakistan and into Afghanistan. Now this was a pretty dumb move of India, because it allows Chinese forces to push down and almost capture New Delhi. So like, India realizes their mistake and pulls back troops, which helps Pakistan to push back. And no, I'm not making a dumb alternate scenario of China winning, because Canadian, Britain, French forces have just arrived in this front. And now you're about to see what's gonna happen. So French forces are mostly in the Middle East, and you see they doing a good job, as we see the fall of Iraq, and forces pushing into Iran. Now the US makes a landing here and pushes to the oil fields because they need more oil, and Iran is put on defensive. Now they are stopped at the mountains, but Iranian forces go full on guerrilla mode in the mountains, and the US can't enter. What they do is link up with India. Now that's not good for Pakistan. All of these countries' forces have just linked up with India, and you know what goes with that? Pushback, of course. And Afghanistan is also invaded. Pakistan rearranges troops from India, which helps India to push back the Chinese and Pakistanis and almost liberate their northern territory. But this does go well for Pakistan, as we see pushback of forces, but barely any. We also have Britain's forces. Yeah, Britain, the T-level idiots. Okay, I'm sorry. If you're from Britain, forgive me. And we also have Vietnamese and U.S. forces pushing back into Vietnam, recapturing their capital. Now this is bad for China, since the blue team is ready to make a landing in Korea, and they are suffering on all fronts. So what does China do? The government literally goes insane and massively conscripts. But this does nothing, as almost all the conscripted soldiers literally just desert the army and move into blue team forces to help them instead. So yeah, China is really bad at this point. We have British forces landing in Myanmar and pushing up. We have British forces pushing up in Myanmar and capturing the capital, and are near the Chinese border. I just said like China and India 5 times. So yeah, the war is not looking so good for China, as we have another big player being wiped out, which is Iran. Now forgive me for the colors, cause listen, I can't tell the exact spot of every color. So like yeah. So we have Iran folding. Yeah. Iran just gets obliterated. And the blue team forces push into Afghanistan. So yeah. Now these two countries are wondering like, why are we here again? And they just leave the war, which is not good for China, as they were planning to hold a defensive there to like slow down blue team forces. And now that they just left the war, yeah, it's not good for China at all. It's not good. Pakistan folds, Pakistan capitulates, which leads to the pushback of Chinese forces in India. Now forgive me for the ugly look. I'm just trying out this app, so please forgive me. Anyway, we have Afghanistan falling, and a massive push into China. We have Tibet and Xing. Oh, those are too big. Okay. We have Xinjiang and Tibet rebelling, and generally this whole area is captured. Now that's not good for China, as they just lost a bunch of land, and Tibet might get released in the peace treaty. Well, if that peace treaty happens, Laos falls, and British and Indian forces meet up. So yeah, China is kind of screwed here, and even worse for them, blue team forces have arrived in Korea, liberating the country. So they push up, capture Seoul, and North Korean forces are completely pushed back. They enter North Korea, capture Pyongyang, and generally Chinese forces and North Korean forces are pushed back to the border of China. And we have actually blue team forces entering Manchuria. It's like Chinese government literally goes insane. And we actually have China doing the smart thing for once, which is, yeah, they kind of surrender, which leaves no red team forces left. So yeah, I'm too lazy to draw borders, forgive me. So yeah, that's gonna be it. Hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.